Happy Tamale Day, everyone. Or as I like to call it, every day.
Almost every single time I drive to yoga class, Black Sabbath is on the radio. Always gets me into that perfect downward dog blind rage, you know?
Yeah, yoga. A squirrel tragically died 1 block over from me a few days ago, and nobody appears to be willing to dispose of it, including myself. It's getting real out here in these streets.
In these streets. This morning, I found myself totally engrossed by a dozen fat quail waddling around the yard. With age comes birds. Put a bird on it.
Put a bird on it and have such a good day. Oh, hello, world.
Oh, hi.
Have such a good day.
Hi.
How fun. Let's do the show backwards. Nah, just kidding.
Hello and welcome to Have Such a Good Day, episode 237. You got to enjoy today, y'all, because tomorrow could be worse.
Tomorrow is not promised, as they say.
Mm-mm.
I don't know who says that, but I know they do.
How is everybody doing out there? Did you miss us? This is the show that unpacks the absurdity of everyday life for your entertainment. Mostly, we just want to have an hour of fun with y'all.
Yeah. You know.
Right, Sarah?
Sometimes it's slightly under 60 minutes, sometimes slightly over. You never know what you're going to get with us.
About an hour.
But we can tell you for sure that it is episode 237, which is not a significant number to me in any respect, but I like it.
Isn't that the room in The Shining, room 237?
Oh my
where
God,
Danny
is it?
goes in? Because you mentioned, actually, it was funny. You made a little funny last episode about Danny and his little tricycle or something.
Stupid tricycle kid.
But he goes into room 237. I think
Is that right? Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. I have to look this up. The Shining room.
Yeah. Room 237.
Whoa. Okay. Well, I wasn't even making a joke about that.
I know.
You know,
I know
I'm a poet. I didn't even know it. But no, 237. All right. So this is going to be weird.
You know, I love when the universe does stuff like that. Like what happens to me a lot lately is we'll watch an old movie and it'll have like a very specific, you know, maybe famous like actor like Bruce Dern or something, you know, maybe something from the 70s, you know, where he was pretty popular. And then the next night we'll pick a completely different movie, random, has nothing to do with the last movie. And like there's like 3 of the same actors from the last movie. And, you know, some of these like weird, like that's odd. It's like a different genre, a different director from a different era. Kind of interesting when that happens, Sarah.
It does. I'm not totally. I'm thinking about like, okay, room 237, woman in bathtub. That was weird. Let's not do that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen The Shining. But
you're on a horror
as we
stretch.
did talk about, you know, I was sort of on a. You know, I was on a horror kick and I got it out of my system and, you know, I'll get back there. I'll dip a toe back in.
Oh, I have a recommendation for you, actually. I think that you should add to your list for the next time you have a hankering, Burnt Offerings with Oliver Reed. Me and my sister watched it again last night. We've seen it like, you know, probably 12 times, but it's kind of a classic in my family. Me and my sister used to watch Burnt Offerings. We used to watch it. It's with Karen Black and Oliver Reed. And we used to watch it when we were kids on the USA channel. They had like an 8:00 movie. And a lot of the stuff we watched, we shouldn't have watched. It was like we were too young. It was too scary. It was too rated R or whatever it was. And I do think it like kind of scarred us. But to this day, we watch it for comfort. We're like, remember that
Heather's
scene?
like,
It was so
Sarah,
scary.
I've got just the movie for you. Something that scarred me a bit as a child and I carry with me to this day.
But you like this. There's obviously a part of you that likes the scarring. You know what I mean? Midsommar.
I think it's been well established that I enjoy a good hate watch.
Yeah, you do.
Even if I'm like, this movie is stupid or scary and upsetting or some combination of the two. I mean, I watched the Tom Brady roast the other night in its entirety, and it was like several hours long. It was really long and like definitely funny in some parts, definitely not funny in other parts. according to me, your mileage may vary, but it's like, I will watch all sorts of things where I'm like, I'm like 30% invested in this.
Speaking of like what you watch, Sarah, so you watch actually like, we talk about this a lot. You watch a lot of reality and I don't. I watch a lot of fiction or a lot of narrative and that kind of thing. But okay, here's what I realized the other day. I was on the phone with a friend who's helping me write the script I've told you about, this family thing. And we've been talking about a lot of things and genre, tone, style, like all these things about what inspire us for this project. And one of the things I realized, because she talks about Bravo a lot, like watching Bravo channel and the Vanderpump stuff and all that. And
and by the way, for anybody who's like, gosh, does Sarah ever do anything? Everything I watch that's reality is on Bravo. It's
she's the same.
It's Real Housewives and the spinoffs that come from that hellhole.
She also loves that stuff. And she was talking about it being melodrama. And we had been talking about the genre melodrama from like the 40s, where there still exists melodrama today, like in narrative filmmaking, but there was a period of time when it was a very popular thing because of whatever was happening in the world at the time. And so as we were talking about melodrama in general, like old movies, and then I realized I'm like, I love melodrama when it comes to fiction and narrative, but I don't like real melodrama, like reality, like real people's lives and their drama. So I thought that was sort of an interesting distinction when I state I don't like reality shows. I think that's part of it. I don't really want to know about real life drama, but I like the kind of mystery.
Yeah. Well, and just because I know you quite well, and I know what you think is fun and kitschy and what you don't think is fun and kitschy. Mm-hmm. And our Venn diagrams overlap quite a bit. Yeah. But like reality shows, it's not real life at all. Yeah. I mean, that's the fun of it to me.
Yeah, it's like embellished.
It's like watching a wrestling match where you're like, oh, they're just like pretending to hurt each other.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's like,
I know
mean,
it's
maybe not
but
completely scripted, but it's just and trust me, I mean, several people in my life, are just like, Sarah, pardon me. I got weird there for a second. Several people in my
weird
life.
On the show, guys.
Yeah. It sounded like Joan Crawford for a second. Several people in my life are like, Sarah, why do you watch this stuff? And I'm like, I'm not even really watching it. I am literally like gazing into the abyss. And they're like, but what about all the bleeping? Me, because everybody's, cussing at each other. And I'm like, I don't even hear it. I love it.
Funny, actually.
Yeah, like it's just, it's like eating a dessert that is, yummy but also not good for you, and you're like, I just feel like it right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like life is short. But speaking of the bleep button, I do remember in the old traditional television days, Sarah, when we were young and
inexperienced.
I used to sit on that bleep button. Because we did live television for many years, and someone had to like be on the bleep button.
Oh yeah.
And that was kind of stressful. It was like you had to really be paying attention. Because live, and then if you don't bleep it, then it comes out.
Right. So that was interesting. I think I mean, I should probably know this because I
have a degree in television.
I do cover alternative television, as part of my daily job. But certain cable companies can get around this rule now. It used to be more stringent. Like if you said like shit or the F word or even like I don't know, like what's it like what's another like oh, you're a bastard, that kind of stuff. Like it was like bleep, you better bleep that or you're getting fined. And of course the cable channel and we worked for several of them is like, oh, we don't want to get fined, so it was a big deal. now you see that, especially because so many series have gone to streaming services and sometimes exclusively on streaming services, like Peacock originals, for example. It's like they could say whatever they want, know? And so less bleeping. Whereas I'm like, I want more bleeping so I can fall asleep. Thank you.
And on this show, we don't do bleeps, and that's for better
don't.
or worse, depending on who you are.
Yes.
We
try
do
not to be
swear
like
sometimes,
egregious.
No.
Egregious. But I feel like we want to talk like we talk.
freely. Yeah. And we also, I think there's times when we feel more emphatic than others. So apologies in advance if it offends you. But Sarah, I got to call you out, actually.
All right. Call me out.
I saw that you posted an Instagram story.
I did.
The other day.
I did. Yeah.
And you don't do that.
No, but what I did was I reposted an Instagram story that was shared with me.
So you didn't actually create the post yourself.
No, I didn't.
You just reposted. Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let it pass.
So what Heather's talking about is, so I'm terrible with stories. I can't keep up,
Yeah.
It's like
She's missed the last 3 years of my life because I post everything on stories.
yeah, and that's fine. I mean, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I know this. I have like group texts on Instagram that are, alive and well. They're just pumping out content all day. And I'm like, I just don't have time. I don't even want to go in there because someone's going to see that Sarah saw
I know.
the last post. And then
they dropped off.
I'm going to get shit for not, saying something back. And so I'm like, I will just ignore this for the next 4 years.
Actually, I have a bit of a bone to pick too with stories. Okay, so I'm not against, I believe in a lot of things, Sarah. I have very strong beliefs in, political issues and serious issues that we don't discuss on this show.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of friends or friends of friends or acquaintances or coworkers who only post really political, like kind of, or controversial sort of news, like screen grabs that are like intense news stories about, intense things happening in the world. And they'll do like their stories. It's like 100 like screens of, the war in wherever it is, because there's many right now. And look, I care very much. But sometimes I feel like there's certain platforms, it's kind of a lot, I'm not going on there for news, and I feel like it can be a little intense, when you're getting a lot of that kind of energy on a platform like that, when you could go somewhere else, a different platform to get your news or to get that kind of thing. I guess I'm sort of thinking about back in the day, Instagram, when it was just photographs and it was just sort of like pleasant things to look at. And I know things have changed.
Things have changed. I think, and we don't have to talk about this because we've talked about this recently, but it's like, I have friends who every so often there's a story up top and I'm like, haven't heard from that person in a while.
Yeah.
Let's see what they got going on. It's not that I'm averse to it. But then I have other friends where it's like, once I get to their account, I'm like looking at the little tabs. I'm like, there's 30 of them.
I know, totally.
Like, no, I'm not doing this. Like
I'll start it and then I'll stop.
I love this for you. I know you had like things to tell the world. I just can't, like, it's too much. It's too much.
It is.
I'm just,
Elijah always says, he's like, you only have so much capacity for like information and conversation and like, reading stuff, taking in info. Like you only have so much bandwidth,
Of course. Yeah.
So.
And that's where, there are times where, for example, this morning, there was some, sort of like, it doesn't even matter who we're talking about, but there was some sort of like jokey stuff going on about like a political figure in the US that like got plastic surgery, and it got shared with me because they're like, Sarah, you love this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I do, but I have no idea who this person is. And, I kind of like, it's early, I'm just having my first cup of coffee. So I'm not really there yet.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
too
I
heavy.
just, I'll get back to this, but I probably never will because I don't fucking care. Like I have work to do.
Yeah.
I don't have the bandwidth for all the stuff.
Yeah, there's too much
even
news. How
though
do you
it's
keep
like
up with all of it?
technically like in my wheelhouse, I guess. Or
yeah, but
potentially
still,
in one.
I mean, your wheelhouse has filled up. It is.
Yeah,
it has
yeah.
overflowing.
We our brains, like let's all take care of our finite little brains. Let's put things in our brains that
little pea
we can
brains.
handle, and know that we can't handle all of it. All right,
Exactly.
so going back to seeing the dead squirrel, Heather, that I
Yes.
mentioned earlier in the show. Okay, so my neighborhood, boy, does it give and receive. But my neighborhood it's great. I love it. And the other day, Otis the dog, and I, are walking, and we do this in the morning, especially when I've got kind of like a jam-packed morning where I'm like, you know what, buddy, we don't have time to do anything besides like, let's eliminate, and then we're going back upstairs. I'll feed you, and then I have to sit down in the office for the next 5 to 6 hours,
Yeah.
And so we're doing one of those things, and he, for the most part, squirrels. When I still lived at the treehouse, in Northern California, I mean, squirrels everywhere. And he would chase them occasionally, but like for the most part, they just like went up trees or telephone poles, and he's like, "Oh, wish I could get you." And just anything that darts out, cats, possums, all that stuff. He is going to be interested. So when we walked by the squirrel, I kind of saw it from a little ways away, and he kind of did like his point thing, where he's like, is that a squirrel? Like, why is the squirrel laying down? And as we got closer, I was like, oh, that is not an alive squirrel. How sad, like rat poison. Who even knows?
Yeah.
It was like just sort of laying on the grass outside of someone's house. It didn't
All
seem
stiff.
like... Yeah, I mean, it was clearly not alive, but like it wasn't clear that like something had happened to it. It just was there.
Yeah.
So we went by, and Otis was sort of like looked at it like, all right, never mind. And since then, this is not even a week ago. I forgot about it because we do this loop all the time, even like midday sometimes, where I'm like, all right, we're going to go out real quick, do a pee, then I have to go back upstairs and, do my work. We walked by it, and I was like, what's that smell? Oh God, the squirrel. Oh, no. The squirrel's still there. Oh, well, I'm sure the people outside will, see it and pick it up. Weekend goes by. This is now Wednesday as of this recording. Monday, I forget again. Walk by, and I'm like, what is that awful... Oh my God, it's the squirrel.
Oh, no.
And now it's starting to get weird, Heather.
Oh,
I won't go into detail, but you can imagine, like things are disintegrating, in real time. And each time Otis kind of looks at me like, why are we doing this? And I'm like, I'm sorry. I should have gone down the other. I just should have gone one block over, and this would all have been, we'd be blissfully unaware. So anyway, last night we, it's dark. It's, it's more or less my bedtime, but I had a long day. And so I was like, all right, buddy, let's go out one more time. Just quick walk around the block, do our little, it's a, 0.2 miles type thing, door to door. Just to, say we did it. So here we go around the block, and this dummy forgets about the squirrel. And at this point, it's starting to like, I can like smell it from like the corner, but I'm like, what is that? Is that like weird food, or, ooh, I don't like that. And we get closer and I was like, no, abort. No, I'm not walking by this again. I can't believe that these people didn't pick up the squirrel yet, even though I don't even really know whose job that is. But no one's doing it.
There's no
and I'm not
neighborhood
doing
watch.
it either. Well, it's also like it's in that like on the sidewalk. It's not actually on someone's lawn. It's in that like median grass between the sidewalk and the street. So it's like, I don't know, probably just no one wants to claim that as their own kind of thing. Maybe it's a city thing. No idea. So anyway, we bail in the other direction, which is weird because we'd never do that really. So Otis he's like, what's wrong with you? And one other really fun thing about my neighborhood is the sidewalks are just like all over the place. You got palm trees, sidewalks. You really have to look where you're stepping or you're going to trip, which I have done several times. Anyway, we get back in front of pretty close to my house. And I don't know what it was because I didn't see it. But Otis sees something that is, a thing in the night that darts away. And he goes after it. And I'm not paying attention. And I go down hard.
Oh, no.
Right in front of my own building. And God and everyone.
Oh, no. Did you
Now,
fall on the sidewalk?
Yeah, on the side. Well, I actually fell into like some plants in my own front yard.
Oh, no. Did you hurt yourself?
Well, okay. So at first, I was mad at him, like, stop it. We're going to go upstairs and you know what? You suck. And also like embarrassed, like kind of looking around like, did anyone see me wipe out just now? Like Otis just like dragged me to the ground. But I was fine. Went upstairs, all good. Yelled at him. He went to bed. We made up this morning. Fine. When I woke up this morning, I was like, my knee hurts. Oh, God. Is this worse than I realized? Because at the time, I was like, I did fall dramatically, but like I didn't hurt myself. I, walked up the stairs afterwards, all good. But I've also like broken my foot before where in the morning, the depth of the injury was much more obvious than it was at first, So this morning, like I got up and I'm like hobbling around looking at Otis like, you mother
effer.
I can't believe you did that to me. and really, I don't know. He wasn't doing anything that he doesn't do normally. It was dark. I was tired. Sidewalk is, all discombobulated anyway. Fell into some bushes. All fine. I'm actually fine now that I've been up
fun
and
to fall though.
Yeah, well, of course not. It's really more. I would say it's more of a pride thing than anything.
Sure.
Like if somebody just happened to be looking outside their window, which maybe somebody was, but I kind of doubt it. Because we, sort of scurried upstairs pretty quick afterwards. But like, imagine just being like, wow, the dog just like pulled that woman to the ground. Oh, she's getting up. She seems okay. It's like, oh my gosh, so embarrassing.
I had an almost fall that was equally embarrassing, Sarah, last weekend. We had a brief relationship with a local lawyer. This is not a romantic relationship. This is a man who took us out to dinner, tried to get us as a client.
Thank you for the clarification.
I just wanted to be clear.
We're not having sex with him, okay?
No, we are not.
We have a legal relationship.
He actually has an office in one of our buildings. He's a nice guy. He took us out to dinner. He wanted us as clients. There's some reasons why we didn't go down that road with him. But I was at the farmer's market. So it's like on a plaza, you go around in a circle and it's just all these vendors, and it was raining and I had a raincoat on and I had like the hood was really big and it kind of covers your peripheral vision a little. And it was like, I think I had an umbrella and I had all these bags of, food and, veggies and stuff like that. So I was like struggling. I was struggling to put things on my shoulder and I wasn't looking ahead and I was walking. And I looked up at the split second before I was going to smack face into a telephone pole. Well, it was actually a parking like pole sign, and it was happened really fast, and it was so fast. It was like within a half a foot, and I diverted it, and I looked up. And that lawyer was staring right at me, kind of laughing because he saw it all happen, even though I didn't fall. But I must have looked like an idiot because I like went, whoa, and like, kind of, made a weird like movement away from the sign. And I was kind of embarrassed. I was like, God, did he recognize me? Because I mean, I haven't seen him in a while. He probably did. But he was laughing at me. I was like, thanks a lot.
Well, I mean,
guy.
Listen, if you had actually hurt yourself, of course, not appropriate to laugh.
Yeah,
but,
and I'm happy to make people laugh. That's fine. At my own expense, even. Just, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, we're all sort of, we can be clumsy klutzes and, it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny as long as somebody like isn't, seriously hurt. I was a little concerned this morning when I got up where I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it's like I didn't break anything. I mean, I know that because, I could walk on my leg, but like something's kind of weird. Like it's not even knee. It's like a tendon or it's something internal, you could even, touch my leg anywhere. And it's like, that doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And, the bottom of my foot doesn't hurt to, bear weight. It's just a weird thing. Anyway, my pride will prevail. I will rebuild.
You will, Sarah. You will. You will bounce back. Speaking of critters, actually, well, it's interesting that you mentioned the squirrel thing because last time I was in LA, I was actually walking up to the Silver Lake Reservoir, and I saw a very dramatic dead squirrel, like with his mouth open and his like, stiff like paws up in the air. It was just a very dramatic, like he obviously fell out of a tree. Aww. And it kind of made me sad. I was like, I thought about it for a while after and I was like, what do you do with them? Yeah. I just imagine someone living there just puts them in the garbage can, out front. It's just kind of, I mean, shouldn't you do like a little burial and a little ceremony? I mean, I don't know, but anyway.
Oh my gosh, I know. I think people feel many different ways about this, on a spectrum of like, dude, do you want me to clean up the squirrel or don't you? Where I'm like, I would like us to have a burial with a flag and let's name him.
Well, the thing is like I mentioned this before when I sourced the animals for the movie for the Sasquatch Sunset, I met an opossum. It's not possum, it's opossum. And I learned a lot from the animal wrangler that they eat a lot of ticks and they're really, that humans should really appreciate them for that because they eat like I don't know, like different kinds of ticks.
Who likes a tick?
Yeah, nobody likes a tick. So I think there are a lot of people out there that would just think of an opossum as just like big rodent that's digging through their garbage, but they're actually good animals, good critters. So I think we should treat them with respect. And I'm saying the same for squirrels. Yeah, they're kind of, they can be pesky. But
I love squirrels and I love possums. I mean, you are preaching to the choir here. Yeah, the opossum versus possum thing, I believe you. I'm just gonna go ahead and slang it out as possum.
Slang it. It's funny. But she kept correcting me.
There is a neighborhood possum around here.
Oh, cool.
Oh, really? Saying like it's opossum.
Yes, like a lot. I was like, okay, got it.
Yeah. Well, hey, she probably knows. She knows better than me. That's for sure. There is an opossum. Just hangs in the hood. A lot of my neighbors feed feral cats, for better and worse. For worse, last night when Otis lunged at something and, I almost broke my leg. But there is a neighborhood possum. I've seen it around. Maybe there are more, but it kind of always seems like the same one. I love possums.
I know. I do.
Too. I love possums. And people are like, how could you possibly love something like that? And I'm like,
I got to send you
know
this
what?
video.
I have a big heart. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a big heart, especially for animals. But I'm going to send you this video of that opossum that I met on set eating. It is like the cutest thing you've ever seen.
Well, because they
It is
have
so
tiny
cute.
little mouths.
Oh, and they roll it around in their paws, and they just
Yes,
kind of like
yes.
nom, 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 nom,
it's
nom.
like
Very
it's
nom
like,
nom
it's
nom.
like a little badger.
It's a little
Yeah,
badger. Oh,
yeah.
don't even get me started on that badger. So cute. Anyway, speaking of critters, what I wanted to mention is when the cat's away, and the cat in this situation is Elijah. He left 2 days after I left, or actually he left 2 days after I got back from LA, and we had the same flight. Like I left on a Thursday, came back 2 Sundays later, and he did the same thing. He left last Thursday, and he's not back until this coming Sunday, and so he's down there working. And I've been here for like 3.5, like almost 4 years now. And y'all know it's country and we're kind of out there, but we have friendly neighbors and I have friends nearby, but it's definitely not the city. And I have never really been in this house. It's kind of a big house. I'm not totally used to it still. And I'm not used to being here by myself. I never really liked the idea of it. I was kind of like anxious about it before he left. You know, you just tend to overthink something and get all worried, but you don't even know if any of that stuff is going to happen. But I was like worried. I was like, oh my God, I mean, I got to make plans. I got to like do things and go out to dinner and whatever, get out of the house. But when I first got back from LA, I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm going to lean in. This is going to be nice. I'm going to have like a quiet house. Like I'm going to binge a show that Elijah doesn't want to watch. And so the mice are trying to relax here. The cat's away. The mice, being me, is trying to relax. But I took it for granted, thinking I have 10 full days to do whatever the heck I want and watch whatever I want, putter exactly how I want to. But no, I get invited to parties and dinners and Zooms, and I'm so busy and I don't have any time to myself. And now, ironically, as much as I was worried about being alone, I'm like so tired. I'm like, I need some alone time. I'm like, wait, what happened? This week got so busy. The moral of this story is that it doesn't usually turn out like you plan it. Like life,
right.
And things like that, AKA me in sweats on the couch eating popcorn for dinner as much as possible. Didn't get to do that. The only thing I did do, speaking of couch time, which was, again, I'm trying to figure out when I can have more couch time, and it's not super soon. But I did get to binge Ripley, which is this mini series. We've been talking about it in Discord, and it's based on The Talented Mr. Ripley from 1999. Well, it's actually based on a book.
Right.
And there's another movie, a French movie, that did kind of a take on it. And it's an 8-episode mini series. And I wanted to talk specifically about some things that I really got out of it. I really felt like it was a binge watch for me that I got really absorbed in and really got excited to watch it every night. Well, it was only like 2 or 3 nights that I did it, but it's been a while since I've actually binged a show that has been good, like pretty solid. I mean, it has its flaws, but it's like it was a pretty solid watch. But I was reading about Lucio, the scene-stealing cat. You probably know who I'm talking about, Sarah. It's a Maine Coon cat.
Yep.
He was actually like a silent witness to like a lot of things that were going on in this particular building. Apparently his real name is King, and he is an Italian cat. But he's such a natural at acting. He was so good. And apparently he wasn't even the first one they casted. There were 2 other cats that were cast, but they weren't able to act. They would just wander around and walk off and not do what they wanted him to do.
Where do you want me to sit?
Yeah,
I'm gonna look up that stairwell, and
He's
I'm
like,
gonna give you some big
I got you.
side eye.
I'm going to be a scene-stealing cat. And
that is so fun.
Isn't that awesome?
I love the fact that you went down the rabbit hole to be like, tell me more about Lucio.
I just I love Maine Coons because I have 2 Maine Coon mixes. They're not as big as that guy. I mean, they're a mix. So, but they do have similar characteristics. They've got like the kind of fur coming out of their paws and a little bit more like on their head and ears. But like Lucio, in that show is quite extraordinary. That's like a real Maine Coon. But I really enjoyed the cinematography. Obviously, it was in black and white. It was a cinematographer named Robert Elswit, and it was all Italian cities and coastal cities, but there were cities like Rome and Venice, and it was all very like it was very metaphorical the way he like shot it, because it was like crumbling villas and statues and gargoyles and kind of scary, monster face like sculptures.
Sure, yeah,
very
but
gothic,
very
and kind of
foreshadowing
noir.
because
Very
the
much
content
foreshadowing.
is kind of
Yes.
it's kind of dark, to be honest.
It was kind of
I'm
cold
so
and
glad that you liked
methodical.
it.
Yeah.
You know, when I first started watching it, I was like, I'm annoyed that I'm
Yeah.
watching something that is, I mean, yeah, it's supposed to be in the past, but it's not supposed to be before like color film was invented. That I
Yeah.
can't see like the beautiful colors of Italy, because that's the best part. Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially, along the Mediterranean,
Yep.
and Portofino and, all that stuff. But I got into it after a while, and it actually like helped me like hone in on what was going on. Because it's all, a lot of bait and switch weirdness.
Yeah, it was kind of subtle and slow. And I think the first episode, I kind of had the same thing. I'm like, And then I got really into it. But I kind of liked the subtle and slowness. I liked that it wasn't sexy. It wasn't trying to be sexy. And there was no sex in it.
No.
There was actually none.
Actually,
And
I hadn't even thought about that until now.
I thought
but
that
like,
was interesting. I liked
yeah,
that
it
they
was
didn't
like,
focus
there
on
was
that.
not sort of like some femme fatale comes into the scene, and then we have to do that for like the next few minutes.
Because
No.
Marge, that character, was definitely you only saw them maybe kiss very like briefly,
yeah,
but
they were a couple. But
she was pretty
yeah.
like modest and just kind of it wasn't about that.
It wasn't about that. Yeah,
But actually, after I watched it, I had to rent the original, the one from 1999 with Matt Damon, who was a great creeper.
Okay, so in my household, we did the same. I think I fell asleep before the end of that one, but we did the
love
same.
doing that.
Because we were like, well, let's just see like how close it is. And it's pretty close, at least
It's
for the
actually
first
closer
few
than
episodes.
I expected.
Yeah.
I didn't love the open. I thought the opening felt like, I don't know, it just like felt dated, but I got into it. It's a good movie, good acting. I mean, Matt Damon is really great in it, but I think it was harder than I expected to go from the one version to the older version. It felt like I didn't need to do that. It wasn't very satisfying. I almost wanted to sit a little longer with the black and white one. Like I just sort of like launched right into this other one that's really different. There's also the Purple Noon, Plein Soleil, which is the French version. Is from 1960. You should watch that. It's really good. Renee Clement is the director, and Alain
certainly
Delon
will.
is Tom, and he's great. Alain Delon is like my French crush, my French actor crush. But yeah, and our buddy Mike in our Discord asked if we could recommend more of this style. So Mike and y'all, if you're interested, I came up with a list of things you could watch that are kind of in the same note, and that's La Ventura, Bergman Island, Call Me by Your Name, La Dolce Vita, Contempt, Vicky Cristina Barcelona, and La Notte. Email us at hi@havessuchagoodday.com if you want more recommendations, or if you want to talk to us about how you feel about Ripley. Any of the versions, I guess.
Yeah. And any of those other movies, I think I've seen them all. When you mentioned Vicky Cristina Barcelona, I mean, I don't even really like, I know that, I remember the general plot, but like I forget the details. But I remember, in fact, I think you and I may have seen that in the theater.
We might have, actually.
Back in the
That's
day.
a good memory.
But I remember being like, that was a good movie. I mean, it's weird, and you have to suspend some disbelief, I suppose. But like, it was a good movie.
Yeah.
And Italy. What's not to like?
My gosh.
What's not to like?
The whole
Well,
Caravaggio thing was interesting. Like because I studied a lot of that art history, and yeah, I mean, I loved that they kind of looped in a lot of art history and that kind of just the study of it, because I really loved those classes.
I should have studied art history in college too. I mean, I
never too
studied
late, Sarah.
broadcasting, and I mean,
Night classes.
it's very on trend for my life today. But yeah, I mean, knowing many people who did not study broadcasting, who also are, certainly on my level or maybe way better than me at this, who just studied, I don't know, poli-sci. Or, I don't know, just philosophy. Or you don't have to have a broadcasting degree to be a broadcaster.
You don't,
Spoiler
not
alert.
this day and age.
But broadcasting is sort of a strange
It's a cool
term.
thing to study,
anyway.
though.
So real quick, I just want to just cry and whine and moan for a minute about health insurance, Heather. So I know all health insurance sucks. Maybe you have like an amazing package with your company, and if you do, awesome. I pay out of my own pocket for my health insurance. I also, am an oncology patient. So I have to I can't just be I'll just see a general practitioner once every 5 years. No, I have to pay for pretty robust insurance, because if something goes wrong, which it has in the past and may in the future, everybody knock on wood that it won't, but may, I have to, have good insurance. So I moved from Northern to Southern California recently. Well, I say recently, almost 5 months ago now, but feels like recent to me. And because of that, which I didn't realize at the time, or I would have put a lot of things in place beforehand, when I moved to Southern California, my health insurance said, oh, you have to just sign up for a new account. We basically consider you a new person walking through the door for the first time. And
boy.
that took many phone calls, angry emails, weird, things where they were like, okay, we're going to record this call. Is that okay with you, Ms. Lane? And I'm like, yeah, it's fucking okay with me. I want my health insurance. That kind of stuff. That has been going on for a few weeks now, to the point where I've had some low moments. Low moments.
I bet.
Because it's all around, I pay you, health insurance company, every month. Whatever it costs is something that, I've agreed, with you, health insurance company. And I change addresses, and all of a sudden the company's like, you're not even in our records. We have no idea who you are. And I'm like, I've had multiple surgeries in your hospitals. Come
Crazy.
on, look me up. And they're like, oh, we can't look up your records because you're in Southern California versus Northern California.
There's a huge
I'm like,
firewall.
that's
That's nonsense.
that doesn't make sense.
God.
Anyway, I have talked myself down off the ledge, but if anybody is in a situation, not even like mine, because how could you even be in such a shitty situation? But if you have had health insurance woes, and I'm talking to US people specifically because I know this is a lot more streamlined depending on where you live. And it's actually worse also depending on where you live. So, we're there is health insurance here, but it leaves a lot to be desired.
It does. Indeed.
Just know, I hear you, and I'm slowly sort of building my new health insurance thing going on down here. But man, Heather, it has been a real thing. I mean, even to the point that right before you and I were supposed to record today, got a call from an oncology office. And I was like, hello? And they're like, hi, are you Sarah Lane? We'd like to talk to you about, needing to come in for oncology and hematology. And I'm like, well, I have to work, so can I call you later? And they're like, yeah, well, our office closes at 4, so you like, please call us back. And I'm like,
God.
I don't even know who you
No,
are. Like,
honestly,
why are you calling me?
Sarah, it's a lot of wasted hours, and it's a lot of wasted stress for something that shouldn't be so broken. And I'm really sorry you've had to go through that. It's like, isn't it enough to have a health problem that is serious and have to deal with that and go through your surgeries than deal with the bureaucracy? I mean, I feel like I've never experienced more bureaucracy in my life, and I don't know. I think it's getting more bureaucratic. I think things are just getting a little even harder. Maybe just in the state, I don't know. But I think everything is hard to, like just case in point, yesterday, I'm trying to Zelle one of my employees. And granted, I have a smaller local bank, but they have Zelle. They've been using Zelle for a while now. But I got an email, no joke, an entire page of explanation of why we can't use Zelle as clients. It's the type of account we have. It's the blah, blah, blah this and the blah, blah, blah that, this red tape and that, and the way that's named and the da-da-da. It's like, never mind, I'll write a check. Like, it's just like stuff like that happens all the time where you're like, aren't we in a high-tech world? Like, why is everything so broken? Like, it's weird. It's like it almost feels more broken than it used to be. I don't know.
If you
don't get me
listen
started,
to,
Sarah.
If you listen to the crypto bros of the world, and not everybody, in crypto is like lame bro, but some people are. They will say like, this is what we're trying to solve. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to fix this system. And I'm like, all right, we'll fix it. Instead of, selling me like NFT monkey artwork.
No, really. I mean, I don't even know if we want to open up this can of worms.
I really
right now,
sound like
Sarah.
an old lady here. I'm sorry, everyone.
Let's talk about birds instead. No, just
Let's
kidding.
talk about birds.
Patronage. Let's talk about patronage and you.
Yeah, let's. If you are a patron, thank you for being one. We have a Heather, new or increased?
New, actually.
Well, hello
our buddy
to
Rich.
you, Rich.
What's up, Rich?
Hello, Big Money Rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to have an uncle. Well, I still
Uncle
have
Rich.
an Uncle Rich. We won't talk about that. But yes, Rich, we're so glad to have you. For anybody who is listening to the show, if you're a patron, you know it. We love you. Thank you so much. Please spread the word. We would love to have more patrons. If you're listening to an ad-supported version of the show, thank you for doing that. We love you too. Smooches,
But not as
smooches.
much. I'm just kidding. Maybe a little less.
We would if you can part with a couple dollars a week, couple dollars a month, or a week.
Hey man, that's
You
what,
got some
like
options.
$8 a month.
Yeah.
Do the math.
It would be great for you to directly support us. That would help us keep the lights on here at Have Such a Good Day. And, you get an ad-free version of the show. A lot of people care about that. And for those who do, some people also like to be in our Discord. And we have so much fun in there. Our Discorders
So
are
fun.
just like, we're a little gang. We're a fun
little
gang.
gang. We're a little crew
Yeah.
with a K. So we did get one little note, or we're going to just read one note of the many notes that we get from y'all. And Cameron said, y'all were so, well, he didn't say y'all. He said, you all were so upbeat this episode. This was last episode, 236. You put me in a better mood. Lots of laughter and jokes. Thank you.
Oh,
That's really
that's
sweet,
so
Cameron.
nice.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
for-
really
for
cool,
writing
Cameron.
it.
I mean, listen, Heather and I, week to week, because we just have chaotic lives.
Because we're human.
Because we're human. Yeah. So as other humans, maybe not
We
everyone
have good and
listening
bad
to the
days.
show is a human, but like as other humans generally, you understand that life is chaotic, and just to brighten someone's day that's what this is all about.
It's
So,
really
thank
what
you.
it is all about. Seriously. I really truly believe that was really the reason why we started this show to begin with. And I think it was also partly trying to brighten our own day. So hopefully we're Oh, I'm sorry. I'm seeing Sarah's cat right now, Ralphie, on the video. You guys can't see
Well,
him, but
he
he
was
is
starting
a
to-
special little kitty.
He's a
Oh, look at him.
Special is the magic word here.
Oh.
He was starting to whine a little bit, and he's got this new thing, Heather, where
I hope you
like
give him a lot of love.
right around this time of day, he always used to sort of be in we've got a sunroom, and he loves the sunroom, you know, and he's got his kitty beds and stuff. But he started to like wander in here and be like, if you're still talking, I want in on it.
That's why I have to close my door. They're all up in they want to be right at the microphone. And by the way, we both have blue nails right now. You got the blue nail memo.
You have like fun, cool nails.
I know.
Mine
I'm
are
cool,
just
Sarah.
like this.
Pretty cool.
Actually, was a whole thing that happened at the nail salon. I'm gonna save that for next week.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you got it. We got to keep that content coming through. So
I'm just gonna churn it out. Churn it out. You know, they write themselves.
they do. Well, until next time, and this scintillating nail story that you have for us, I will remain Heather until next week.
And I will remain Sarah Lane forever.
All right, you guys. Have
All right.
such a good day.
Have such a good day. Bye.
Ciao. Put a bird on it. Put a bird on it. Sorry.
Have
Here, wait, let me do one more. Wait. Put a bird on it. Put a
Have
bird
se-
on it. Okay.
have such a. The fuck are you doing? All right.